All right, good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are again. Another fine morning. Gonna do a little bit of rusting. A little bit of rusting. Hey, what's up, Philo Gamer Pro? Good morning, Bob Knoll. We are live. We are live from Kansas. Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. Alrighty. Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but just kind of dive right into it for the day, yeah? I'm gonna try to see if we can't I think today's goal will be to try to load a file and save a file. So basically, can we sort of take it through the basic functionality of editing some text, persisting that text, and then editing that text again? Good morning, Oblivious. Good to see you. How are you? Your gaming PC is something to be envious of. Or I guess it's not really your gaming PC, but it looks like a gaming PC, but I'll just call it your rig. Your rig looks like something to be jealous of. It looks pretty freaking cool. Hello, Ilmanian. How bees it on the Twitches over there? Gorgeous rig. It is a gorgeous rig, yeah. Super jelly. Super jelly. It makes me... So I've never built a PC, but I've always had the itch to build a PC. And so when I see somebody else's PC like that, I think, what am I doing with my life? It used to be for gaming, now it's really just my workstation. Well, it's either way, it's baller. It's baller. Although did it take you? I'm curious. Did it take you any type of like mental gymnastics to get comfortable with putting water in the computer? Because that feels to me like I would be kind of anxious about that. You know. Hey, what's up, Sam? Long time no see, buddy. How are things? How's work? You been busy? Yeah, we're taking a little side quest, taking a little Rust side quest. You know, we're living our life like an RPG. Or at least I'm living my life like an RPG. So right now or was it Saturday, Sunday, Sunday? Good, good. Yeah, yeah. Busy, busy. Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear you're busy. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. This is the first Rush stream. This is like the fourth or fifth. Yeah, since like Monday. Sunday we finished the donation website, the Buy Me a Coffee website. We finished that and we hooked it up to text to speech. So if somebody buys me a coffee uh, on that website, we also get like a super chat text to speech effect over here on the stream. So we finished that Sunday, and then Bob Knoll over here and Oblivious were like, "Do Rust, do Rust, do Rust," and so I was peer pressured into doing Rust. It's kind of like your friends chanting you on to chug, chug, chug. It was kind of that effect, and so I just jumped in. Put the coffee thing in the stream. Oh yeah, for sure. I can do that. Let's see. Actually, hold on. I'll just drop it in the chat. We'll do. It's just this is where it lives at. Whoops. Would help if I could type. Yeah, it's a pretty simple site, but it was one of my goals to learn how to use Stripe, and so I'm proud of myself for having figured that out. And Rust, 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 Rust. One day I'm going to show up on stream just dressed like a crab. How about that? Oblivious and thanks. It's effort well paid off, and with the water, I'm confident nothing will leak. After doing air leak tests under pressure and seeing no pressure. Okay, I see. So there's like a little bit of testing that goes into it. What's up, Gun? How many Rust programmers does it take to change a light bulb? I don't know, but I want to know. Good morning, Big J's Faith. How are you? Good to see you, man. Hope your classes are going well. Hope your first week is proving to be not as intimidating as maybe you thought it was going to be. I've never tried Rust. Don't think I've ever seen any Rust code before. Hey, man, I've seen a little bit of Rust, and I've written a little bit of Rust, but we're actually trying to like build something at the same time as learning it, so it's a little bit of a shit show over here. But it's fun. We're having a good time. Hey, Jamal, how are you? Good morning, good morning. Yes, grab your coffee. Or I guess it's not morning for everybody, but good day. Good day, everybody. No man, Dad. Sup, dude? Looking a little rusty, I see? Yes, I am looking rusty in more ways than one. In more ways than one. But good to see you, Nomad Dad. Hope you're doing well, man. I hope life is treating you well. Alright, so I know we got to a point, I think, where we had a picker menu, right? If I remember right. So if we do cargo run, waiting for file lock on package cache. Never seen that before. There we go. It was because maybe the analyzer was... Okay, so here's where we are so far. It also doesn't support zooming. I wonder how we support zooming. So I think what we're going to try to do today is figure out how do we save this text to a file, and then how do we subsequently load that text from said file. And that might be enough for today. So we have our picker, which is good. So we can put that here. And now let's just do some Googling. We'll use our Google flu skills to figure this out. Nothing big, just a bunch of information right now. Very basic, but it's getting easier. Well, that's awesome, Big J's Faith. That's all you can do, man, is just put one foot in front of the other. That's all you can do. Why do Rust developers have such long coffee breaks? Because they're waiting for the code to compile, but once it does, it runs so fast they have nothing left to do. Nice. Good one, Gun. The compile times do seem a little slow, even on a small project like this. It seems like it takes a little bit to compile, but maybe that's the price you pay, right? For speed after the fact. Bob, any thoughts on Prime's vibe coding adventure? Oh, I have some thoughts about this. I have. So I found Bob actually in the Primeagen stream yesterday, but I've been following along with the Primeagen as he's been vibe coding, and you guys kind of know my thoughts on just agentic development in general. It's just not. It's like kind of like Python. It just hasn't grabbed me, hasn't interested me. I leave every session feeling not super inspired to program and code more. And so a couple thoughts I have watching the Primeagen is that he's making I think people are very frustrating because people seem to constantly be telling him he's doing it wrong. So I think agentic development has turned into this ultimate game of like, how do you tickle the LLM just right to get the results you want? And every time somebody doesn't get the right results, there's like this chorus of people that are ready to jump in and be like, no, what you got to do is you got to use these 5 words in this order, and you got to put these 5 agent MD files here, and this is there's like this whole like twirl 5 times, jump up and down 3 times, back and forth 1 time to try to get it to work. And that to me feels like odd. I'm not sure I like that. But I resonate with the Primeagen on a couple things he said on stream. One, he said that he feels more drained when he does kind of agentic vibe coding. One, I resonate with that. He said he feels kind of disconnected from the code that's being written. I agree with that. Um, what else? There was one other thing he said. Now I can't remember what it was. Oh, he said it has a shaman like activity to it, a shaman feeling activity to it, and that I also agree with. So I kind of like watching him vibe code. I was like, this is exactly what it would look like if I tried to do it, and but halfway through it, I'd be like, this isn't fun. I don't want to keep doing this. Life's too short to make myself do this. So at least that's what it would look like if a vibe coded on stream. So that's my thoughts. So if you guys don't know who the Prime Engine is, he's like kind of he's like the godfather of all programming streamers. It feels like. So you should go check out his streams. He's basically spent the whole week doing vibe coding. It's pretty interesting to watch. Demal Jones, do you complete all the live stream projects? Yeah. If I start a project, I take it to completion. I take it at least, Jamal, I take it at least to the point where it's usable. Like it does the minimum viable thing. I might not stick with it and iterate on it and keep it forever, like in active development, but I definitely finish it. Sajad, hello, Sajad. Good to see you. Sam, let's code a Vim mode. Okay, we can do that. We can add Vim support. That'd be fun. It's exactly like that. Hey, Danny, what's up, man? Oblivious, basically trying to defend a shoddy system. Yeah, essentially trying to. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's like it's very. I think it'd be very frustrating to be on the other end of that, where like you're trying to make a really sound effort to do the thing, and then you constantly have people in your ear telling you, no, well, you're not doing it like the way it needs to be done. And if you just let me show you, and it's like, but if it requires that much wizardry, I don't know how I feel about that. Sam, what's your day schedule like Monday through Friday? How do you fit so much in? So I really just get up early, I guess. That's the only real thing that has changed. My Monday through Friday schedule is Monday, wake up at 4, hit the desk at 4:15, stream till 7, get off the stream at 7, get dressed, get ready, see my kiddos, hug my wife, kiss my wife, get them off to school. I usually start work about 8 o'clock, take care of whatever work needs to be done, do the needful at the work, and do that till about 5. My kids usually come home about 3:50, 4 o'clock. And then from 5 to 8, I try to do my best just to be available for the family. And then at 8 o'clock, if there's stuff that I want to work on that's code related or content related, then I'll usually start that after 8 o'clock. And then try to be done or laying down for bed like 10ish so that I can be up to stream the next morning. And I repeat, every day kind of looks the same. It's like Groundhog Day over here, which is that's kind of what life is like once you're a parent. It's just life is about kind of creating stability and routine for your kids and your family. But that's the gist of it. Nat Nail, I think is how you say your name. Nat, I'll just call you Nat. Hey Steven, you got familiar with Golang, right? So in your opinion, which one is the best experience, C# or Go? So I have to admit I'm biased here. I still think it's C# for me, but Go was a lot of fun. Like I can see myself writing Go full time. It was a blast. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I actually became a bigger fan of Go after I built that term tier application that I made a video about. That made me love Go even more. That was a ton of fun. So I still am biased towards C#, but I could live with Go. I think the thing I love about C# the most is just while Go has ultra simplicity, I like all the whiz bang features of C#. Sam, hardcore. I don't know if it's hardcore, but the thing is, like, I'm not really grinding as so much as I'm just doing things that I enjoy doing, and that makes it easy to do. I won't lie either. I want to learn a new language from scratch again to rewire some things LLMs have taken from me. I love that last sentence. Some things that LLMs have taken from me. Damn you, LLMs. Yeah, learning a language from scratch is fun. Yeah, for sure it's fun. I don't know how this Rust thing's gonna go. I think at some point. Hello, Azure. How are you? Good morning. I think at some point we might have to go back to a little bit of tutorial mode because I'm definitely doing things that are far beyond kind of my current understanding of the language. But I'm sort of kind of understand what's going on. So we'll see. We'll see how long we can get away with it. Audio is scratchy. Let me see if I can try to fix that. I think that might be the best I can do at the moment. I think everything's connected pretty well. Audio's fine here. Okay, well, let me know if the audio deteriorates. It's one of those things where it's like I hate that you guys have a different experience than I do, but right now all my levels and everything look fine on my end. Lots of members today. Yes, we have all the members here today, which I love. Thank you guys so much for being members. I really appreciate that. I don't want to look at GPT for solving my issues. I miss Stack Overflow. Well, you can still use Stack Overflow. You just kind of have to work at it a little bit harder. Audio's fine. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Oh, maybe a little overdriven. Okay, I can tone it down a little bit. Let me see. How's that? Is that better? Yeah, I think that's normally where it's at is. That should be a little better, hopefully. Good morning, Komodo Swag Dragon. Too quiet? Is it too quiet now? Or maybe I just need to move the mic a little closer. The level looks good. I'm almost peaking. Better? Test, 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 test. Hello, hello. This is your captain speaking. Still too quiet? Sounds good? Okay, cool. Steven is whispering in our ears. I swear I'm not trying to whisper in anybody's ears. I promise. Let's see. Would you suggest studying in office? I'm done with my work completing my hours. I don't know. It depends on what your office culture is like. If your office culture is pretty pro learning and stuff, maybe it's not a big deal. But I can also see like studying the office could be taken in some situations. People could twist that into like, well, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I think that's very contextual. Like if it was me personally, like I had a job where it was totally like frowned upon to do studying at work, and then I had a job where it was totally okay. They kind of embraced it, like they knew we were all college students, so they were like, "Yeah, in your downtime is totally fine to study." So I think it depends. I joined in a bit late, had to reach iPad charger for the 4-hour run. No worries, dude. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I miss Stack Overflow for my weekly self-punishment. Now I complain about audio on YouTube channels to feel the rush of criticism. I really love Stack Overflow, but I found Stack Overflow to be a very difficult community to deal with. Like I felt like they weren't very kind. Like I thought people were a little bit over precious about like questions and answers myself. So it really was never my community. I definitely used the website, but I've never asked a question on Stack Overflow for fear of being crucified. I think this is better. I had you at 4% before. Okay, cool. Yeah, trying to find like a happy medium in the audio thing is kind of hard, right? Or it could be a skill issue on my part. Saj Dulish. Shaw. I'll call you. Maybe I call you Shaw. Hey, good to see you again. I'm coding too, fighting an annoying bug. Well, let's code together, friend. We shall vanquish the bugs. Audio is better now. Awesome. Thanks, Renee, for calling that out, man. I appreciate it. AI is greater than Stack Overflow. I would rather talk to an L than probably post a question on Stack Overflow myself. However, I've really benefited a lot from Stack Overflow over the years. I actually knew developers at banks using Stack Overflow. Well, I mean, who does what? I mean, if you're a developer and you say you've never used Stack Overflow, I would be kind of skeptical of it. You know, like it's kind of like somebody nowadays saying I'm a developer and I've never used AI. I'm a little skeptical. I'm sure there's still some of them out there, but I mean, damn, I mean, sure, there's a lot of hype in AI, but it's pretty magical autocomplete, you know? All right, how do we load a file in Rust? I'm just going to do a Google for that. Oops, where's my browser? Or actually, we could use Gemini. Actually, let's use Copilot. We haven't used Copilot on stream in a while. Actually, that's not true. We just used it the other day to help us figure out the picker thing. Let's see. I don't want to use Opus 4. That's too much monies or too many premium requests. We'll just use Haiku. I think Haiku gets you pretty far in most things. Let's see. I'm learning Rust. In the application I am building, I need to be able to read the text stored in a file into my application. I have the path to the file. What is the proper way to do this? Preferably, does Rust have, this is another thing where I just don't know about Rust, right? Does Rust have, I guess Rust has Rust async. Let's see, maybe we open another. Well, I guess we can just put that here. What is the proper way to do this? I think preferably we do it asynchronously, but again, I'm a total noob, so walk me through my options like I am an idiot. No, that's derogatory. Like I am a beginner. Danny, what are we working on today? So Danny, we're trying to build a desktop application using Rust, where we essentially are going to try to recreate a lot of the same functionality that exists in Notepad, but we're going to try to add a Markdown previewer to it because Notepad recently released support for Markdown in the editor, and you can almost do like a WYSIWYG type of thing where you can see the I think you can see this in Markdown format. I thought you could. But anywho, that's what we're building. So we're basically building, I'm calling it FerrisPad, so it's kind of like a Notepad alternative. It's more about learning Rust, though, than anything. That's what we're doing. But we're taking a different approach than we took with Go, because when I learned Go, I did like a couple tutorials, and then I built stuff. And with this, we're building and learning. So we're kind of doing a little bit of a just-in-time learning approach. Last we left you were doing the save as approach. Yes, so that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to save, and then we're going to try to load today. So at the end of the day, if we can save a file and load a file, I'll be happy with our progress. Rust has async await, but you have to provide an async runtime. Tokyo is the most common, but Rust does have built-in support for channels and threads. Interesting. So why is the runtime separate, Bob? Do you know? Why do we have to bring in something else? Nice. It's really great seeing a developer learning new languages by building projects. Yeah, I think that's the best way to, honestly. I mean, it can definitely feel overwhelming at the beginning because you basically feel like you have to Google for every single stinking thing you want to do. But over time, right? Over time, all those Googles add up to some knowledge. There are opinionated options out there. Nice. Yeah, I'm just curious. It strikes me as odd that a language would support it, but don't fully know other than historical reasons, but it gives you ability to choose your own runtime. Interesting. Very interesting. There are ultraweight alternatives to Tokyo. Interesting. Huh. So he supports async. That's like, so the language supports it, but they don't provide a way to execute it. So are like highly vibe coding it or doing it on your own with a few help from AI? So I'm going to write all the code myself. Or I'm going to try to write all the code myself if I can. Like type it, like type the code. Like the code may be like have been authored by AI, but I'm going to type it so that like I get reps typing the syntax and writing the Rust syntax. But we're definitely going to use AI for help. We're going to use Google for help because again, like I'm brand new, right? So what do you do when you're brand new and you don't know how to do stuff, but you want to do things? You Google, right? That's how we all, we all start as little babies who don't know anything, and we have to be taught everything, and that's how it is in any programming language. And so the question is more about, do you follow like a tutorial where that learning experience is structured and well formed and laid out, right? Where they're serving you the information. It's much more like a push experience, right? Versus like this type of learning approach is more of a pull, where I want to do something, so then I go Google and figure out how to do it, and then I apply that, right? So this is, I guess that's the best way to understand it, is like the way we learned Go was more of like push, and the way we're learning Rust, or the way I'm learning Rust, is more like a pull. It didn't use to support async in a way. Figuring out how to do futures in a way that works well with the memory model took a while to sort out. It's interesting. It's interesting to me that somebody would develop a language, a newer language today, and not have designed it with async await. Just knowing how big of a deal asynchronous operations are in general, it's crazy to me that that wouldn't have been part of their initial design considerations. But I'm sure there's reasons. TM reasons. Yeah, writing the code helps a lot. Exactly. Writing the code is, I think, the important part. Writing the code is the important part because that helps you build some of that muscle memory in your fingers, obviously. And then it also helps you look at things and be like, wait, I don't know what that does. And then so you can go and ask more questions and interrogate it more. Future equals promises. I like that. Yeah, futures is cool. Promises is fine too, though. I personally like C Sharp's task model. I think that makes the most sense to me from a mental model perspective when it comes to concurrency, but that's just me. Danny, I am also thinking to learn Go by building project. Who knows? I might become Go developer in 3 months. Go for it, dude. The 3 months are gonna pass whether you do something with it or not, man. That's what, so many times that's what drives me to action. When I think about that, it scares the daylight out of me, and so I start moving. I think, oh, like we're 7 days into 2026. The end of January will be here before we know it. So I can either use these days to do something or get to the end of January and be unhappy that I've got nothing to show for it. Also, if you want to file dialog open, like you mentioned, there's a crate purpose. There's a crate purpose meant. Rust is, in my opinion, even more about adding dependencies than Python. Really? Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I don't have to feel bad about taking some dependencies. I did use RFD. That's what I used for the save file picker. This guy. When I do this, I'm using a crate called RFD. I don't know if that's the one you're thinking of. All right, let's see what Copilot had to say here. Okay, so if you want to get started quickly without worrying about async, this is the easiest approach. FS, read to file. Ooh, I like that. FS, read to file, or read to string. Very simple. So I guess let's start with let's start with sync, and then we can come back and revisit async. It's not a big async with custom. Once you're comfortable, separate your file reading into a dedicated function. That's fine. My recommendation for you, start with option 1 to learn the basics, then graduate to option 3 once you're comfortable. Okay, let's start with the basics. So we need to, I will say, I'm so bought into this match syntax. I love this match syntax. Renee, the 3 months are going to pass whether you do anything with it or not. Stephen Freeborn. Yep. I mean, it is. It lights a fire under my ass like nothing else. Like when I think that like my kid is going to be 18 in 9 more years. And those 9 years, the first 9 years flew by, and the second 9 years are going to fly by. And so I need to get busy. I need to get busy doing whatever it is I want to do, because those 9 years are they're gonna come and go. Oblivious, I might have fallen asleep yesterday. Oh, no worries. Oh, you're doing it right then. RFD, yes. Okay, cool. So I'm on the right page. If you guys see me going off the wrong path, you're always welcome to say, whoa, 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 buddy. Back it up. Where's Pablo? I don't know. I actually was meaning to tag him in Discord. I haven't seen him around. I'm just going to ping him. I won't, hopefully it won't bother him too much, but. What's it? Your name came up on stream today. Just wanted to let you know we were thinking about you and hope all is well and that you've just been sleeping and busy with work. Hopefully he doesn't mind being pinged like that. But yeah, I think it's good whenever we're thinking about people to let them know. Real Gosling, yo, Stefan, what the fuck is good? Life is good, my friend. Life is good. Also, I just realized I was ignoring Twitch. It's don't know what we're building. We are building a application that I'm calling FerrisPad, which is like a replacement for Notepad, is what we're trying to do. POV, you blink, and then you're gone. Yep, so true. Sorry, Twitch, I didn't mean to ignore you guys. Argentina New Year? Yeah, maybe. Rust is all about that match. No, I like that. We can make that into a song. Forget the crab song. Like, forget the crab rape song. We're gonna have our own song about match. Ryan, that is some big project. I guess. I mean, I don't know how big it is. I mean, it's not gonna be as polished, obviously, but the idea is to kind of make like a markdown text editor sort of thing. So it'll probably be like a minimum viable alternative. How about that? How about that? All right, so let me write this. Let me type this code that Copilot has been so kind enough to illustrate for me. Are we finishing that today, or is it more like a series? No, we won't finish that today, man. 2.5 hours, or I'm live usually for about 2.5 hours on work days, so we'll be lucky to get. The goal for today is to get the load action and the save action done, and hopefully that'll be good progress. I'm all about small steps climb mountains. There's no need to boil the ocean in a single day. I've got lots of time, so. If it more than anything, it's less about the project and it's more about learning Rust than anything. So that's what we'll focus on. All right, so we're just going to inline this. I know this is bad practice, but we're just going to inline this. So files gives us back, or this thing gives us back a option, which I think yesterday Kirk said we have to match over it. Copilot wants to steal my rep, so we will cast Silencio. And so this is where we're gonna do air, I think, right? which is going to be print line, and this is going to be unable to get file path. I think this is right? If something returns an option, you can match over it. I guess that's a question I should ask. In Rust, what do you do with an option return value? Pretty sure you match. So none and some. So how do you know? We're just gonna do more. We're gonna do more talking to LLMs. Figure this out. Have you ever tried any other text editor than NeoVim? Oh yeah, for sure. I'm a new convert when it comes to NeoVim. I've only been using NeoVim since the beginning of 2025. For the longest time, I was a VS Code user, and I still use Visual Studio quite. I use Writer, and I still use. So I kind of bounce between NeoVim, Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, and Writer. Are kind of the 4 editors I use most often. But NeoVim's kind of become my favorite. Steven, you on Twitch now? I am on Twitch. Yeah, you can find me twitch.stevenfreeborn.com. I actually think I added a command for that. Let me see. Renee. I'm on Twitch horizontal, which is the free horizontal stream. And then I have a let's see. Twitch. Like that. There we go. Mic became loud and crunchy now. Let me see what happened. See if my volume settings changed. Huh. No? Nothing changed. I don't know why. My levels look okay. I'll turn this down just a bit. Hello, hello, hello. Test, test. It's probably a little too low. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. I don't know why. I don't know why it keeps peaking like that. Sorry about that, guys. Oh man, the Twitch command didn't work. Why didn't that work? But anywho, let's see. Renee. Renee. Let's see. http://twitch.stevenfreeborn.com. Yeah, Gemini Pro's been good. Yeah, I like using it. Cleaning my messy as hell desk right now. Yes, good, good. Clean workspace is necessary. I do not like clutter myself. Don't like it. Also, good to know ePrint line to print error could help for future references. Ooh, there's a print error function. I like it. So what I was trying to figure out was, let's see. I am learning Rust. I am calling a method that returns an option type. How do I handle the option type? And how do I know? How do I know when to use different? I don't even know what to call them. Different things like okay, none, some, or error. Or error, yeah. How do I know? Or not error, I guess ERR. Originally, when you spoke closer to the mic, volume went scratchy and overdriven. Oh, maybe I was too close. Maybe if I stay back here, that's better. Sorry, I'm being aggressive with the mic today. Let's see, it's very common for new Rust developers to confuse option and result because they are both used to handle situations where you might not get the value you want. Here's the breakdown of when to use which and how to handle them. In Rust, null does not exist. Instead, Rust uses two specific enum types to handle missing data: option and result. Oh, okay, so you would do, for option, you would do some or none. You generally cannot mix them. If a function returns an option, you must use some and none. If it returns a result, you must use OK or error. How to handle the option. When a function returns an option, you receive a sealed box. You cannot access the value inside T directly. You must unwrap or handle the box to see if it contains some data or none data. Fair enough? Okay, so option is some or none, and result is OK or error. Which means here I don't want error, I want none. Which then means this is not really an error, it just means print line. There you go. No file selected. And then here is where I do sum. Now sum this expression has type option path buff. Fill match arms. Oh, there's a to-do macro? Is that what this is? A to-do macro? That's cool. Indicates unfinished code. This can be useful if you're prototyping and just want a placeholder to let your code pass type analysis. The difference between unimplemented and to-do is that while to-do conveys an intent of implementing the functionality later, and the message is not yet implemented, unimplemented makes no such claims. Its message is not implemented. Also, some IDs will mark to-dos. That's really cool. Whoever thought that up, that was awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, and FYI, any function with a exclamation point at the end is a macro, so encapsulated boilerplate, basically. Well, that's nice. I think macros is something I'm super interested in learning more about, because I've never worked in a language, I think, that's had a feature like that. Path. What's the error here? Mismatched enum? What's it complaining about? Or is it just because I haven't written the file out? Ah, that complaint, I think, was because I hadn't written the file out. Yes, there we go. All right, so now we need to read the file in. So let's read the file in. How do we do this? So we say match fs dot read to string, and we pass in our path, I think. And this also has a return. So if we get OK, then we have the file contents. Does this bother any of you seasoned Rust developers? Does it bother you having so much nesting, like match inside of match inside of match? Is that considered like normal idiomatic looking Rust, or does this look like ugly Rust? Because it looks ugly to me, but maybe this is how Rust code's supposed to look. Bob, you're doing a read in your save as? Oh, that's a good point. We don't want to read. We want to, what do we want to do? We want to write. So that's for that. Well, that will come back to that. That'll be helpful for loading. Let's see. That's a good point. I'm just gonna do the same prompt, but I'm gonna do it for. I'm trying. I have the file. I think preferably you need to be able to write text to. I have a path to the file. What is the area? The same thing. I'm a never nester by trait. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of nesting, but it kind of seems like that might be a way to do it. Gun, yes, it bothers me. You write Rust. Yuck. Mark, setup is back. Where are you at now with the text there? We're trying to implement a save and an open functionality, Mark. That's what we're trying to do right now. Watching people fight over coding languages is like watching people fight over what color drill they use. Dude, people like to have opinions and argue, and that's just kind of how people are. RE nesting. I try to avoid nesting in all languages. Aspirin. I subbed you because you do the exact thing that I do while coding, and that's the reason I don't feel that odd one around here, nesting and other stuffs. Well, that's good, Aspirin. I'm glad that I make you feel normal. You can make a save as function, hand off to that when the message matches. Yes, I guess that's the idea, right? Is to refactor some of this code out of line. But I guess there's not really another way to write this in line without having a bunch of nesting. So we don't need to do that. What we want to do is we want to say fs dot write path and our content. But our content, we don't have a content. What is our content? Our content is the state of our state dot content. Yeah, content. Like that. Why does this think it's not being used? Oh, because I gotta write out the file. And this needs to be brought in. Oh, not, it's not a dot, it's a colon. The trait content is not satisfied to trait as ref is not implemented for ICE content. Required a bound introduced by this call. Expected unit type found enum. I don't know. That's how you get the text. So what does write expect? Write expects as ref path as ref u8. So is this where I need to do one of the ampersand things? Nope. All right. So what do we do here? How do we figure this out? Oh, I also need semi. Oh, was that it? Okay. That was it. I just need to add a semicolon. So let's see if this works now. FS re-imported. Whoopsies. That's better. How do your code in NeoVim? I want to give it a try. You should. NeoVim's fun. I mean, I think it always looks intimidating from the outside in, but I think it's fun. Let's see. Unused standard result. Result must be used. Oh. Okay. We can use the result. So let's see. Let's see if we can persist some text here. So we're going to say, good morning, chat. I be a Rustacean today. Now let's try to save. First file ever saved on Earth using FerrisPad dot txt. Save. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. The other thing I need to figure out about Rust is how we... Hey, looky there! The other thing we need to figure out about Rust is how I write tests. I don't know how to write tests in Rust. Nesting is an unfortunate side effect of pattern matching, but pattern matching is such a strong feature. Yeah, pattern matching rocks, but yeah, I see how like you can't really get away from like severe nesting. So it probably actually helps you drive you to write very succinct code. Like it drives you to refactor things out into separate functions, which I think in a lot of cases is a good thing. How do you run? I mean, oh, I just install it on Windows. If you go to neovim.io, you can get it installed. Milestone, yes, Milestone indeed. Tests in Rust are easy as fuck. Okay, awesome. So the testing's built into Rust, kind of like Go, because that seems awesome. Steven, what do you think of the CES 2026 event this year? There's some interesting tech coming up. I haven't really been paying attention. I haven't been watching much tech YouTube lately because I've been trying to make content so much that I haven't had as much time to consume content. But tell me about it. What are you most excited about at CES? I love personally. I love tech YouTube. I just haven't had much time to stay up to date with the latest happenings. Mark, there we go. I know, right? Here we go, man. We got a file. Put some shit in a file. Good morning, traveling dev. Good to see you. I mean, executing your currently worked on code in NeoVim. I think the way you execute your currently worked in code in NeoVim is you can open up a terminal in NeoVim if you want, but I always just open up a separate terminal. Is what I do. Man, my mouse is like super laggy. I always just open up a separate terminal. So I usually have NeoVim running in one tab, and then I open up another tab, and that's where I run my code on the command line. That's how I do it. And my Bluetooth is just not... This is why people say I need to switch to Linux. For whatever reason, my Bluetooth keeps dropping out on... Okay. So it doesn't like the fact that we are ignoring this. It also refactored... no, where is it? Down here. Yes, it doesn't like the fact that we're ignoring this. So let's do let save results. And then we can say, this is where we can do another match, right? We can do another match. Man, we're how many we are 1, 2, 3, and we're about ready to be 4 matches deep on this thing. Make sure your main returns a result, then just put a question mark at the end of right. I don't think I'm not gonna do anything like that until I refactor it. How about that? Let me just keep up with this maddening nested matches, and then we'll refactor it. So we'll say match save results, and so since this is where we practice our learning or our recall. So this is where we learned that if the return type is result, then we know we need to use an OK or an error. So we do OK, or we do error, right? And I guess for now,
did we just become best friends?
Thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Is that Renee from YouTube? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Renee from YouTube. Thanks for going over to Twitch, man, and following me. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. All right, so now we'll do print line file saved. Saved file successfully. I mean, I think ideally we'll just close the mod. We won't even do anything. If error, we can say, this is where you were saying there's an e.println. And how do we print an error? I think there's an example over here. Yeah, so we can do give me an e, and then say error curly braces e, like this. Unreachable pattern. Why is it unreachable? Match bindings cannot shadow tuple variants, cannot be named the same as tuple variant. Huh. Some of these errors, I don't even know what the error is telling me. Okay. So let me see. Is there like a code action to fill these arms out? Yeah, fill match arms. Print line, and this is going to be, I don't know why I keep doing exclamation point. Print error. Error. Like this, and then we'll just do print line.
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, not a Ferris. Thank you for following the channel. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you to do that. Saved file successfully. Now, why is this complaining here? Oh, yep, okay. Because I violated the naming convention. That's gonna take some time to get used to, doing snake case versus camel case. That's gonna take some time to get used to. Hello, Suhas. This compiler error is showing you want to do okay. Oh, it's showing me I want to do this, is what you're saying. I need to declare the variable and discard it within these parens or use it. Got it. Good to see you, Suas. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm going to take my time and catch up probably by the end of the week. Yeah, I'm yet to check it out to myself. I read some headlines, though. Actually saw HP is making the keyboard computer like the Raspberry Pi. That sounds cool. I'd be down with a keyboard computer. Yeah, I think that would be a blast. I need to catch up as well. Underscore is fine too. Yeah. So that's kind of like your discard, right? So you can either do this. Hold on, what did you type? ... Or you can do this. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Okay, let's ask Gemini. What is the difference between okay underscore and okay ... I'm sure Bob knows, but I'll ask Gemini. Defining the nuances and matching. I probably should be using fast for this stuff, not pro. We probably don't need to burn down trees so Steven can learn Rust. Let's see, match the OK variant, expecting it to contain exactly one field and ignore that specific field. OK means match the OK variant and ignore all fields inside it, no matter how many they are. Interesting.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Thanks for subscribing, Renee. That's really kind of you, man. You didn't have to do that. You for sure didn't have to do that. All right, so now we have a way to save the file. So now we need a way to open the file, right? So I think in Notepad, this is under the same menu. We have file save as, and now let's add file open. All right, so let's see if I can implement this without too much Googling. So the first thing we have to do is we have to update our file actions. So we'll have an open. Then we are going to update this static list to include file action dot open. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to add file action open. And this is where we're going to basically determine what appears in that menu. So we will just say open. Okay. Expected value found enum file action. Whoops, I keep doing the dot syntax. That's gonna kill me. Let's see, and then this is complaining why file action defined here. I don't know what that's saying. What does that mean? File action defined here. I'm not sure. We'll come back to it. Okay, file action selected. Now we need to match against that. I do like the fact that like using this mat syntax and the enums sort of forces you to basically the compiler lets you know right away when you haven't addressed a path of code that can now occur, which I like a lot. That's really nice. Your impl, I think. Hold on, what? So this is causing that to display that? Sorry, Kirk. I moved on right as you tried to help me. Programming is the new gaming? Dude, I think programming might be more fun than gaming. I know that's a wild thing to say, but I think programming might be more fun than gaming. So, Kirk, do you know what I need to do to resolve this? E004 Rust E0. It would help if my keyboard would stay connected to my computer. I might just plug it in so I stop having this issue. Don't know why I'm having Bluetooth problems. Don't know if it's a computer thing or if it's my keyboard thing or what. Maybe it's a Windows thing. Try not to talk too loud into the mic. So how are you, Steven? Did you pet your dog? I did. I've pet my dog. Not this morning. My dog was asleep when I got up. But I will pet him today. Null defined here means that's being referenced by a different error. Run cargo build and look at the result. Ooh, good idea. So you're saying it's actually showing an error because of the match. I see. So this is the compiler saying, hey, you haven't used all those you haven't exhausted the patterns here, and just to let you know, file action is defined up above. I see. Man, these errors are very helpful. Note the match value is of type file action. Help. Ensure that all possible cases are being handled by adding a match arm with a wildcard pattern or an explicit pattern as shown. That's a crazy helpful error. They even have it separated into error. Whoops. Oh, whoops, I gotta turn off Bluetooth. They have it separated by error, note, help. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I wish more dev tools would take that approach to errors. Treat errors like they're important. Okay, let's see if I can load. Let's see if I can load a file. So we'll do file action, open, and whenever we open a file, we're basically going to do a very similar action, but instead of getting the path, we are going to do open or let's see, create directory, set file name, save file, pick file. That's what we want, pick file. And I'm guessing this returns us something. This returns an option. Okay, so we can match over that. I'll rename that to file. And then if we're in here, oh, this is pretty straightforward. No file, maybe no file selected, or no file to open. And we'll change this to no file to save to. Hey, this is pretty straightforward from a pattern, like an implementation perspective. So we have our not our save result anymore. This is going to be our read result, right? This is going to be our read result. Look, Ma, I'm a Rust developer. See you, Suhas. Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate you stopping by the stream. Say hi. All right, so now we're going to do read file. So how come? Oh, because that's an instance. So because this returns, I guess, an instance, I can use the dot operator. But if I'm working off of kind of a static, I don't know if that's what you call it, but if I'm working off a static thing like this, we call read. So read, this returns a vector, but I want read to string. And we'll pass in the path, okay? And then this also returns, I guess, a result. Okay, so it's either going to be a string or it'll be an error. If it's an error, we will print it. If it is a string, this will be our content. And so then what we'll do is we'll take our state and we'll take our content. And does this have like a set method? How are we mutating it when we type? On action message edits. I guess it really doesn't show us how we mutate the content. Let's see. Into type ID, selected file action, no. I don't really see a method here. I do see content, but I don't see a method on this either. I see text. That returns me the text. I see cursor is empty, selection. I kind of wonder if it's this perform method. Perform, and then what, you pass something to it. And let's say we do message edit. Maybe. Or do we actually set the content, right? So like we're creating a state object up here that has a default value. I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google this. Where are we? I don't know what I'm doing. Welcome to the club. You didn't miss anything, Bob. We're trying to figure out how to take the content that we've read in from a file and stick it in the state of our editor. Text editor. Hold on, did I just see? Someone made a video tutorial. Oh, I'm gonna have to bookmark this. Oh, and it's on the iStarS. Oh, I'm gonna subscribe. Count me in. Okay, cool. So this might be exactly what we're looking for, but I don't want to just give myself the answer. Let's see if I can find it in the docs. So let's go text editor. I don't like this music. So on action, message edit, content, state.content.perform action. Well, that broke my music. See you, Mark. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. Bye, guys, man. I can't help but to only watch and stare, whatever stations you are. I don't know if I'd call myself one of them yet, but I'm gonna try. Oh, hey, Oblivion. Thanks for becoming a subscriber. Sorry I missed that one. Thank you very much. That's really nice of you. You didn't have to do that, by the way. Hey, Butterscotch, how are you? You're over there on the Twitch channel. I like it. Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Renee, Steven, did you get my subscription on Twitch? Yes, I saw your subscription come through. Steven, do you have the trouble.neovim plugin? I do not. What is that? There's so many things I do not have or know about. Trouble.invim plugin. A pretty diagnostic references, telescope results, quick fix, location list, help you solve all the problems. A location list to help you solve all the trouble your code is causing. This looks cool. No, I do not have this. This looks very pretty. Okay. I'm not gonna set it up right now, but I'm definitely gonna start it. Thank you for that recommendation. That looks great. Butterscotch, what are you building, by the way? We are building an application I'm calling FerrisPad. It's basically like a text editor written in Rust as a way to learn Rust. That's what we're doing. You might need to replace the content with a new one. State equals content with text. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. That was my other idea, was that maybe that's how I do it. All right. So let's try doing that. So we do state equals text editor content. I don't know if that's actually how you do that. I don't know if that's how you do that. Let's see. New? There's definitely a new method there. But how do I say... Oh, with text. There it is. With text. Oh, so you were... Oh yeah, you put exactly that. Okay, you put that exactly that in there. That's funny. So content with text, and then we pass in the contents. Like that. I think. Expected. Is that not how you do an assignment in Rust? Expected following match, missing a comma here to end this match arm. Oh, yeah. And then this has to be a... Hey, I think I did it. Maybe? It literally just had me unexpected token. I keep forgetting semicolons. I'm so used to writing semicolons, but all of a sudden I started writing Rust and I forget to put semicolons. All right, let's see if we can get this thing through a full cycle. So we'll do cargo run. All right, here we are. We're in FerrisPad now. We're gonna open. We're gonna do the first file, open. Hey, let's go. I'm adding some text here. File, save as. We'll save it back to the same file. We get a little confirm. Yes, I would like to replace it. Let's go ahead and delete this text, and then let's try to load. It works. It works. We can save and edit text. Yes, milestone. Milestone indeed. It's like a quick fix list showing you errors and warnings in your code. Yeah, we'll have to try. We'll have to try double. Or sorry, trouble, not double, trouble. I love it. So we can now open and close a file in Rust. I think this is where we should stop adding features, right? I think this is where we stop adding features. I think this is where we be a good dev. And we'd be a good dev, and we try to figure out how we can first refactor this and then make it testable, right? So I think the first thing is extracting some of this stuff to separate methods out of the update logic, right? So, for example, for the save as, we should basically have, this should be extracted to something, right? Actually, there's probably two levels of functions we need here. There's probably like an action handler, right, that we should extract this to. So something like function save as, save file as. And then there's probably another function that actually does the saving of the file. Save file to disk. These are kind of separate things with their own separate dependencies. So this first one, if we were just to pull this out and we were to stick that up here, well, apparently auto formatting doesn't work. I'm not sure why it doesn't work. Oh, it's painful. Let's see. 3. There we go. Okay, so save file as. That's going to require the content that we want to save, which is the text. I actually think maybe this should be. No, that's fine. We'll just call that in line there, and then we'll say this is the text that we want to save. So what does this need to be? What type does this need to be? This needs to be, or it returns a string. So we just need to accept a string type here. We'll say text string, right? That's how you type a function. Oh, you got a colon. There you go. And then we'll replace this with text. Now that guy's happy. So then we can pull this out, kind of like what Bob was saying. We should be able to now pull this out of here. Oh, it's not there. And then we can just say save as, and then pass in save as and give it the state.content.text. Well, that looks a lot better. That looks much better. And then we can also pull this out. And we'll put this into a separate function up here. I don't know why it's not auto formatting. I'm typing my auto formatting keybind, but it's not doing it. So we have to pass in the path and the text, and this is string. And let's see. And this is a path. So this is because it says cannot find type path in this scope. So how does it know? Okay, those are generic types, right? So as ref path, as ref u8. So I'm guessing this means I need a reference to something that is a path. I need a reference to something that is u8. So we should be path buff and string, I think is what we want then. So we want path buff. Okay. And then we'll go down here. And we can do save file to disk. We pass in the path and pass in the text. Like so. And then we can basically do the same thing for open. And hopefully our stuff gets a little bit more succinct now. Do you guys, when you write, hey, what's up, Sam? It's a notebook for, sorry, I'm catching up. What's a FerrisPad? So yeah, a FerrisPad is a notepad written in Rust. Yeah, that's what it is. Bob, no, formatter breaks if there's a syntax error somewhere else. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that's why it wasn't working. Because I had a bunch of syntax errors when I copy pasted. So that makes sense why it wasn't working. Also, Martin, good to see you, man. It's been a minute since I've seen you in the chat. Good to see you. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Hello, Ulas. Good to see you, man. How are you doing? Thanks again for being a member. Thanks for being a member on YouTube and a subscriber on Twitch. That's nuts, dude. Oblivion is and I think Bob's not. Bob's just a member on YouTube, which is totally fine. But those of you who are members on YouTube and subscribers on Twitch, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. And then let's refactor the open. So we'll say load file, and then we'll also have we'll do open file. And this will be a path buff. But then we'll have another one that's called load file from disk.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Hey! Thanks, Bob. You really didn't have to do that, man. I wasn't trying to call you out. I hope you didn't take it that way. I hope you didn't take it that I was trying to call you out. I really do appreciate any support. I mean, Bob has shown me so much support. So thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. It wasn't necessary, though. Bob, oh, there already is a FerrisPad? Is there really? Did I just steal someone else's idea? Now I feel shitty. Now I feel so shitty. FerrisPad. Of course there is, because why wouldn't there be? Crap. That's okay. That's okay. This is about learning. This is less about trying to compete with the existing FerrisPad. I like the line numbers though. It's a good looking. It's a good looking. It's a good looking tool right there. I'm gonna star this. This might also be nice reference code to look at to see how they did stuff. I wonder what they used for their GUI. I don't see iced in here. I don't know what they used for their GUI. Let's see. Can you tell me what this project used to build their interface? Or which package is helping them do it? Looks like FiltK. Man, you guys know everything about everything. FiltK. FiltK or FLTK is a cross-platform GUI toolkit written in C++ with Rust bindings available through the FLTK crate. It's known for being lightweight, fast, simple to use, which aligns perfectly with FerrisPad's description as a blazingly fast, minimalist API. Interesting. So they're using C++ code, but calling it from Rust. That's cool. Is there a lot of that going on in Rust? ESPhono fell for the temptation of the Copilot button. Nah, man, Copilot's so helpful for this stuff, man. Because I wouldn't have known, looking at that cargo toml, I wouldn't have known myself. I don't know enough about Rust, so it's kind of nice that it can hone in and figure it out. Because the only way I would have been able to figure it out is I would have had to Google each individual dependency. Like, what does this one do? What does this one do? What does this one? Okay, well, this is maybe we can use this code as sort of a reference for us if we get stuck as we're building ours. But I 100% stole the name, apparently. I think it's time for more coffee. We do not need to pass the path. We do need to, however... So I think I want this to return the contents. I don't want to pass the state down. So how are we going to do that? I don't know how to type that yet. We'll have to figure that out. I don't want to pass the state in here, though. I know that for certain. So let me refactor this one more level. So we'll go here. We'll pull that out. Okay, so this is kind of, I think, what Bob was talking about, where I basically just want to bubble this up. I think. Just kind of it just basically wraps this path buff. Now, what's the return type need to be? So the return type needs to be result of type string. Result of type string. Expected one of where found what? Did I not define that right? How do I define? IO result? No. I'm not sure how to type that properly. Oh man, that's 2 yawns in a row. Yeah, I'm not sure I know how to type that. Missing arrow before return type. Oh, okay. Well, that shows you I've never typed a function before. Results have 2 types: return and error result string. So how come this one doesn't show an error in the documentation? Does it just ignore it in the documentation? So you're saying I need to do this? Pretty vague prompt. Are you are you saying my question is a vague prompt? My question to chat is a vague prompt? That's funny. Yeah. You should rename it Microsoft Visual Markdown Studio ++ 98. Well, I bet I could get some users for that, huh? Rust makes it very easy to call DLLs written in C and C++. Well, that's good. That means you can reuse a lot of code out there that's already written. Oh, that's an IO result instead of a standard result. Just return whatever that says. Okay. All right. Now what? Now I thought everyone was happy, and then now it's angry. Enum takes 2 generic arguments, one was supplied. Oh, so this is where I'd have to say. There we go. Although I don't think I want to tightly tie, because the whole idea of that function is to sort of allow me to. We'll just leave it for now. But we'll come back to it. We might change that, but we'll leave that for now. So let's then use it. So now we'll say we basically want to bubble this up, and we want to say, okay, load file from disk, and we pass the path. But I want to return batch arms have incompatible types. Expected enum result string, but found unit type tuple. So let's say I want open file to return me the contents, right? So let's say I want it to return me a string, is what I want open file to do. Oh, that's going to take some getting used to. I'm going to make that mistake 100 times before this is all said and done. So I think for now we'll just return an empty string here. So how do we return an empty string? Is there like a string dot new or something? Or a string, I mean, I guess we could just do this. Let's see. Match arms have incompatible types. Oh, so this is the difference between ampersand stir and an actual string, right? So this can't be that. So how do I create a string versus a, let's see, in Rust, how to create empty string new? Oh, okay, string new. Chat's more helpful than Google right now with, so we just do string new. And then this will be the same thing, string new. And then we can discard this. So then the idea is then we come down here and we can replace this code with we can basically replace this code with this. And instead of that, we will call open file. We don't need that. Open file, and that takes in a path. Right? Mismatch type expected stir. Oh, so we want to return. Oh, no, hold on. We can do this. Now everyone's happy. So now let's see if it still runs, because it looks like it will compile, but let's see. We all know this is not always means that things are working correctly. Let's see, unused import string. Okay, we can fix that. Let's see, we'll open. Yay, more text. Save as. Save. Yep, override it. Wonderful. Look at us. So the whole point of doing that refactor is so then we can start talking about how do we test things in Rust, right? And how do we write our code in Rust so that it is testable? Because that's something I don't know how to do. But seems like a very important thing to be able to do. So let's go. The other thing I didn't like about the way I refactored this was I think we can probably move the read result. We can probably move this into that load from file this method and say this is actually just going to return a string, right? Oh, whoops. And then this now can just become load file from disk, like that. right there. Okay. So now let's see. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream into the mic. That was probably too loud. Sorry, guys. Let's see. You can also do 2-string. Okay, that's good to know. It has to be a static ref. LLMs are really bad with Rust, in my opinion. Okay, good to know. I'll be on the lookout for shitty code from the LLMs. Cargo test is crazy easy to set up. Okay, that's good to know. I vibed a couple games in it too. Claude can also do Godot, which is surprising. Godot's on my list of things to learn. Yeah, that's on my list of things to do on stream. I was actually talking to my kids yesterday on our way to school. I was asking them, I was like, so I kind of want to build a game, but I want it to be a game that if I built it, you guys would play it. And so they were giving me like what style of game they would want to play and how they'd want it to look. And they're going to be like my project managers. Compared to the whole Go shebang. So you think Go is Rust is easier to set up than Go's test? Because Go's test is easy, in my opinion. I'm waiting until we get to ref or RC ref cell, LOL. I don't know what that is, but when we get there, I'm glad you're here for that. Jamal, testing in Rust is one of the easiest and seamless approaches. Okay, that's good to know. Good morning, Crow of Demise. How are you? Yo, Steven, how's it hanging? It's hanging well, dude. It's hanging well. We're just chilling. No setup at all. Cool mic. It's a ball. Yes, this is... So I've had this mic. This mic is older than my son. My oldest son. This mic is like 10 years old. I bought it on a random weekday. I walked into Best Buy. It would have been like 2014, I think it was. It was back before I was even involved in anything to do with coding or programming. I was making content around fitness, and I wanted a mic, and I think I went in and bought this at Best Buy for like $50. I want to upgrade it at some point, but I'm at this point where like I'm not really making money off of YouTube, so I hate to spend a ton more money investing in equipment on YouTube until I actually make some decent money off of the channel, which I'm not making a very good effort of doing that, but whenever I figure that out, how to turn YouTube into an actual income source, then I'll reinvest some in the equipment. Yeah, that's really cool. My wife has a huge family. We're gonna make a game sometime soon, like a LAN MMO, I think. Yeah, I think it would be really fun to have a family game, Kirk. I think that would be a really fun developer sort of family thing where you can have like a weekly, play session, like get a week of development and then get together on Friday night for game night, right? Make it like a family thing where you guys get together and you test the latest things in the game and then figure out what you're going to do the next week. I think that'd be really fun. That's crazy. It has hella good sound quality. Laugh my ass off. That's awesome. Oh, well, good. I'm glad it sounds okay. We've had a little bit of issues with like peaking this morning apparently, but I'm glad it's doing an okay job. Crow Demise, you should stream on Twitch too. Hey, I've got an answer for you. We are on Twitch, so you can find us on Twitch at twitch.stevenfreeborn. Let me hear. I'm gonna ping it. I'm gonna send you the link in case you're interested, because we are horizontal over there. There's a horizontal stream here on YouTube, but I made it members only. But there's a free horizontal stream on Twitch if you don't mind going over to Twitch. So you can go to twitch.stevenfreeborn.com. There you go. So your demographic is the highest paid professional on average. Have them pay for it. Hey guys, I need a new mic. Let's start a super chat goal for a new mic. No, I feel bad doing that. Like you guys work hard for your money. I want you guys to use your money to make your lives better. I mean, if you want to send me your money, I will keep your money, but I don't have any expectation of people sending me their money.
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you, man. Thanks for going over there and following me. I appreciate that. Interesting. When did you start coding? Sorry if you already answered it before. Was AFK? Oh, no. I'm fine with answering questions from you guys. That's the whole point of the stream, right? Is to interact. So let's see. I started coding. It's kind of a weird story. There is a video on my channel. If you search for how I learned to code, I kind of go through like the long version of the story. But basically, I took computer programming 1 and computer programming 2 as electives in college, and learned C# in those courses, if I remember right. Then I went on to have a career as a food scientist, and I did that for 6 or 7 years. And in like 2018, so towards the end of that career, I knew that I was wanting to pivot. And so this would have been like 2018 or 2019. I took a
Did you just say send me money?
I I did, Bob. I did. Thank you for doing that, man. That's too freaking kind. You guys don't really have to. So then I took a web development course from Duke University. I think I found it on Coursera. But I really got started, or I really got serious learning to program in like spring of 2021, fall of 2020, spring of 2021. Basically, since that point in time, I probably spent at least 4 hours a day writing code of some type for something, and just haven't ever looked back since. So I've got probably 4 or 5 years of solid development experience now under my belt. I don't work as a developer. I work as a quality engineer, which is kind of like a kind of developer, because I do write some code for a living, but I also still do manual testing as well. And then in my free time, I like to build my own stuff. Also, I realize I'm ignoring Twitch again. Bet I can watch you on my TV. Yeah, go for it. I don't know what I look like on your TV, but the picture quality might not be as good. Abominable. You should vibe code a game on stream in Love. Put the Primogen in the thumbnail. Massive views. Yeah, Love is the Lua framework, right? That they used in that Tower of Defense game. That'd be fun. I don't think I'd want a thumbnail, or what do they call that, clickbait with the Primogen. I don't want to draw any attention from him or his audience. Like they might roast the fuck out of me. I don't think I would pass for a lot of people's definition of a developer, probably. So I don't. I don't want a bunch of people coming over here and diminishing my self worth. But I do think it would be fun to have a game. I really think it'd be fun to have a game that my kids enjoy playing and that I can iterate on with them. They can give me feedback, and then maybe that could be like an inception point to get them interested in programming. Hey, what's up, Phil? Good to see you. Bob, is your goal to move from QA engineer to software engineer in the future? No, not at all. Yeah, not at all. I really love my job. I love the role I play, and I like the things I get to do, and I kind of get my cake. I get my cake, or what is the phrase? I get my cake and get to eat it too, because at work I get to do all normal software development lifecycle stuff, get to participate in all those activities, but I don't have the pressure of doing the software development stuff right at work for somebody else. Which, whenever you do any type of product development for somebody else, that's it's questionable how fun of a experience it is. So I get all the benefits of my job, plus I get to on the side do all the software development I want, right? Like no one's stopping me from building whatever it is I want to build and making content around the things I want to build. So I don't really feel a need to be employed as a software engineer to be a software engineer, if that makes sense, or to be a developer or someone who builds products. So I'm gonna stay where I'm at until if my current job, then I would try to get a job as a software engineer, if that makes sense. So I love my current role, but I wouldn't want to necessarily do QA somewhere else. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird, subtle context. It's like, as long as I can stay where I'm at, I like the type of job I have where I'm at my current company. But if I have to go find a different role, then I would probably try to find some sort of more engineering focused. You should learn some offensive security. It's pretty cool. That sounds cool. Yeah. I always tell my wife that, like, one of the things I wish I had done more in my career is I wish I had chosen a career that was more about like protecting other people, like be like a police officer or an FBI or gone, join the military. But my wife is very like anti any of those professions, obviously, because I think, I mean, rightfully so, because they're kind of dangerous. But now what I tell her is like, I could do something technical, but for one of those organizations, right? So kind of like what you're saying about offensive security. Like, could you go work for one of the three-letter companies, and could you do something with your technical abilities to protect other people? I think that would be kind of cool. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad it makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people, when they hear that I'm a quality engineer, probably think, oh well, the ultimate destination then is for you to move into some sort of a development role, which I wouldn't be opposed to. Like if my company tomorrow came to me and said, hey, we need you to start doing some feature implementations, I'd be like, that's fine. Like I feel very confident that I could do it, but I don't necessarily want to do it unless they make me do it. That makes it like working on old legacy code base is not as much fun as working on your own projects. I think that's defensive security. Oh, I meant defensive. I meant protecting or defensive in the sense of like I go find the bad guys and hurt the bad guys. I preemptively I figure out who wants to do harm and then proactively go and dismantle them. The best defense is a good offense, and the best offense is a good defense type of thing. All right, I think I'm gonna run up and get another cup of coffee, and then come down and try to learn about testing a little bit. We can figure out what I've implemented incorrectly that makes testing hard, because I'm sure there's something I've done in here that's not ideal. I've really enjoyed. So I told you guys I moved from Meld Studio to OBS recently, and one of the things Meld Studio lacks is Meld Studio doesn't show you any statistics on like your stream or viewer count or anything like that. And I actually kind of like streaming without having the viewer count in my face, because OBS puts it pretty prominent when you connect to YouTube. It kind of displays it pretty prominently, but I kind of like the fact that I don't really know who's all here. I just know that chat's here, and that's who I care about, because chat makes the stream go burr. So appreciate you guys hanging out here. If you're gonna leave because I'm going upstairs for a couple minutes, I totally get it. I don't expect you to sit and watch an empty chair. Otherwise, this might be a good time to go and get a hot beverage yourself, and I'll be right back. If I come back and I'm talking but no sound, it's because I forgot I was muted. So just spam you're muted. All right, BRB. I think I know a YouTuber you might like. I'll try and find him really quickly for you. Yeah, link him up. Oh, John Hammond. I know John Hammond. Yeah, I think I'm actually a subscriber of his channel. He's good stuff. I just learned this. The dbg macro also returns the value you pass in. So it prints the code you pass in, the file number, and returns the value. That's really cool. I'll have to try that out. Way more powerful than I thought. I haven't got to the debugger state of Rust programming, but I'm excited to do that. Okay. Let's find out. I think what might be most helpful for me is to chat with Copilot about one of my methods. So let's say I want to test the save file. Let's just say I want to test this. Is there a way to test this? I mean, I guess the only thing I'd be verifying here is that we called fs right. Right? This is just delegating access to fs right. But I guess we would want to know that I guess the only thing we could test is that we're propagating the result back correctly. But let's just see if Copilot can kind of help me think through. Let's see, Copilot. Start a new chat. Let's see. I'm learning Rust. Seriously. Like, total noob. I'm in the process of building an application. And before I move forward with adding any additional features, I want to understand how Rust idiomatically approaches testing. For example, let's say I have this method. Oh shit. Whoopsies. Start again. New chat. Control Shift Enter. Let's say I have this method. There we go. Whoops. Crap. I always forget to press the leader key to yank to my system keyboard. Leader Y. There we go. Okay. Now, I know this is somewhat of a silly method to test since it is just wrapping the built-in module for interacting with the host file system. However, for the purposes of learning, let's use it as an example because it does mean in order to test it, I need to either find a way to mock/stub out fs, or I need to do an integration test where I actually talk to the file system. Can you walk me through the basics? I mean, what I'm basically doing with this prompt is I'm basically like crafting like a personalized custom tutorial for what it is I want to learn, almost basically. Let's see, can you walk me through the basics of getting testing set up in Rust in a Rust project that was started with Cargo, and then talk me through the approaches to testing the method. Remember, I am a noob. NeoVim suggestion. Make regular yank always go to clipboard. Opt.clipboard. Not sure if okay for Windows though. Okay, so I did that for a little while, and what I kept finding was I was accidentally overriding what was in my system. And so then I got to this point where I kind of enjoyed having the NeoVim clipboard, or whatever you want to call that, different than the system clipboard. So I like that ability to have two different things, but I just forget. I need to be better about remembering that when I want to copy to the system clipboard, I got to hit the leader key. But I kind of like them being separate. See you, Crow Demise. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you following me on Twitch. That's really kind of you. I think you went over there and followed me on Twitch. I thought I saw a message for that come through. Or maybe that was someone else. Phil, have a look to Green Clip. I like it a lot. Green Clip. Never heard of it. Green Clip. Simple clipboard manager. Oh, so this doesn't have anything to do with NeoVim or anything. It's just kind of a standalone tool. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Get that star. Where did my... Here we go. Testing for... Okay. Let's see. I'm happy to help you learn about Rust testing. You've picked a great example because it highlights some real testing challenges. Let me walk you. You've picked a great example. Good job, Steven, at coming up with the... let's see. Testing setup in Cargo. Good news. If you created your project with Cargo new, testing is already set up for you. Let me show you the structure. Okay, I don't have the test directory, so let me go and do that really quick. Tests. Okay, running tests. You can run tests with cargo test, no capture, C print line, cargo test, or a specific test. Okay. Unit testing basics. Unit tests in Rust are typically written in the same file as the code they're testing at the bottom here. Oh, really? That's crazy. Do you guys do this? For those of you who write Rust, do you guys put your tests right next to the methods? That's wild. I think the YouTube streams are suffering. I'm switching to Twitch. Oh no. You mean like you think the YouTube streams are suffering like in terms of quality? Buffering like crazy. Oh man, I'm sorry. Maybe maybe my internet can't handle this multi-stream thing. Let me look. Stream health. It says stream is healthy. Stream is healthy. Huh. Twitch says unstable. Average stream bitrate too high. So I guess I need to adjust my bitrate for... Wonder what my bitrate is set at. Can I adjust the bitrate on the fly? I doubt it, huh? Yeah, I can't change it while I'm live. Okay. Well, I'll revisit. Maybe there's something wrong with my maybe my bitrate isn't set correctly. I'll try to do a little bit of troubleshooting. I hate it that you guys have a bad experience watching. But I appreciate you letting me know so I can look into it more. Bruh, I tested main. There's nothing wrong with that. You can test the main all you want. Twitch is always laggy, whether you stream or watch. Oh, huh. Well, I hope I'll do my best. I'll do some I'm not like an expert on like the settings for streaming. I usually just use whatever the software recommends. So I'll do a little bit of research and see if I can't figure out maybe there's something I need to dial in now that I'm streaming to multiple places. We'll see. Okay, Twitch is solved. Well, that's good. Let's see, but RE Rust test. Yes, test in a module at the bottom of the file. I'll do larger integration tests in their own files, though. Wow, that seems so. Does that get? That seems like it could get cluttered up really fast. Seems like your files could be difficult to read or figure out what's going on. That's just, I mean, that's me coming from the outside world. The attribute means only compile this when testing. Brings in everything from the parent scope. Okay. Okay, so what is this? What is this word right here, chat? What does mod mean? Is that module? Is that what that is? It's easy gaming. Hello, it's easy gaming. Rust syntax. Mekesh with what? C or Java? I don't know what you were trying to say there. It's easy gaming, but thanks for stopping by and interacting in the chat. I appreciate you. Cluttered, meh. You get used to it. You don't have to do it that way, but it's the convention. Well, I want to stick with convention though. I try to, whenever I go to a language, I try to adapt what they're doing over there. I don't want to bring the others. You know what I mean? I want to be a part. I want to be part of the tribe. Rust syntax matches. It was okay. Rust syntax matches with what? C or Java? I've never written any Java or written any C. I have read some Java. I don't think Rust syntax looks like anything like the Java I've seen. But I haven't seen much C code, so I can't really say there. Yes, mod is module. Okay, good deal. Every file is a module in Rust, but you can explicitly define modules using the mod keyword. Okay, that's good to know. So okay, question there. So if I'm in two separate files, and at the bottom of the file I define mod tests, does that put both sets of code in the separate files into one test module, or is mod tests in an existing file? Is that like, for example, if I have like a main file, that's the main module, and then if I declare a mod test, is it now main.test? Is it like namespaced in a nested way? Or are these mod declarations sort of like global? The modules would be A test, B test, separate. Okay, separate modules. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so it's almost like your namespacing almost. That's good to know. Hey, AZ, anything? What's up? Long time no see, man. How's it going? 9.9K. Oh, did we cross 900? Getting to 10,000 has been a real slog. I try not to open my YouTube studio too often during the day. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just like an addict, like refreshing. Oh yeah, we did cross over. We're 9,901. Almost there. Almost there. Dang it, Twitch. Yeah, Twitch doesn't like the dots, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so that makes sense to me. Now I am clear. Let's see, testing your specific. This is what I'm most interested in. This is the easiest path for beginners. You actually create temporary files and test with the real file system. Okay, that seems straightforward. Nothing crazy about that here. Verify it worked. Okay. Pros, simple to understand, test the real behavior, no external dependencies needed. Cons, actually touches the file system. Okay, so let's refactor for testability. So this is what I was interested in because I know how I would do this in Go, and I know how I would do this in C#. So I want to see how this is in Rust. Okay, so this function does the actual work and returns a result. It has no side effects. Okay. This function handles the side effects. It calls the above function. All right. Assert result is okay. Cleanup. Okay, so why? Hold on. Why did they do that? I don't think I see. I think it just hallucinated. Did it just hallucinate? I don't think what it did makes any sense. So it extracted this to a save file disk function. Yeah, dependent. This is what I was looking for. So the dependency. Okay, so for complex scenarios, many Rust developers use a library called temp file for temporary test files. It automatically cleans up. Huh. Okay, so I guess what I'm wondering is, okay, so in C# or Go, the way I would approach this is there would be some common interface that the method depends on that handles persisting the file. And I could, in test code, swap out the FS implementation for my own mocked version and control that mock. Is that not something people do in Rust? YouTube is good again. Oh, you're back. Hitting that dopamine for every new subscriber. Yeah, pretty much. I try to avoid. I mean, I know that's what's happening. Is that like that's what YouTube is doing? Is it's like feeding my dopaminergic brain. So I try to avoid looking at the numbers. But I do think it'd be a cool milestone to get to 10,000 subs. I mean, I had 21 subs in January of 2025. So the fact that I ever got to 1,000 made my entire YouTube career. Like I can happily retire from YouTube now if I wanted to. But getting to 10,000 seems like it was an unfathomable thing. Yes, Funels, trait time. Well, you were right on, because that's what Copilot said too. You can do that in Rust. You'll just have to build your own adapters. Okay, interesting. Check out Rustbook and Rustlings, please. Okay, I can check that out. I think someone else had recommended Rustlings. Yeah. The Rust book, I've read good 8 chapters of the Rust book, but we decided for the sake of the stream, instead of me just streaming myself reading the Rust book, that I would try to take more of a learn as I build approach versus what I did with Go, which Go was very much just like sit and read and work through exercises. So this is just a little bit different of a learning approach that we're attempting. So that's why I'm using LLMs to try to help me like build out essentially what are tutorials on demand as I'm trying to figure stuff out as I'm building the application. Let's see, this is your interface, like an interface in C# or Go. This is your real implementation. Okay. Your function now depends on the trait, not the concrete implementation. Yeah, so this is what I would expect. This is kind of how you would do this in Go or C#. See how similar that is to what you do in C# or Go. You define a trait, which is an interface, implement it for both the real thing and a mock, then your function takes any type that implements that trait. Yeah, this is cool. And so mock, so this library, mock all, is like mock from C#. Mock all. Nice. Okay, so let me star this. Are they on GitHub? Love it. Love it. So trait is like how you define interfaces in Rust. So that's how you say this thing has a contract and you must adhere to the contract. That's cool. So let's see if we can do what Copilot recommended. So let's do an integration test, and then let's also, I guess, try to write a unit test. So you guys said this will go at the bottom of my file. Do people write tests in their main file, or should all this code be separated outside of main? Seems like it's getting messy. And if it does need to be extracted outside of main, split import? What is?
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you, Uncle Pee-wee, for following the channel. Put it wherever the function you're testing lives. Okay, so we need to figure out where these things are gonna live. Yeah, we need to figure out where these things are gonna live. So in Rust, what is the right way to organize? Do you put things in folders for modules like you do with Go, where like a directory is a package? So I guess what I could do is I could have like file.rs. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. file.rs, and then we could do this. And then load file from disk. Go package equals Rust module. Go dir is a package. Rust file is a module. Okay. So I'll put these, I guess, in a separate module. Is what I would call it, a module. And so if I delete these from here now, this is obviously going to complain, right? So the question becomes then, how do I reference this from like that? Let's see if the analyzer can help me. Save file, oops, save file to disk. Huh. See, let me try LSP restart Rust analyzer. So I put a new file here. Oh, do I have to make these public? Is that why? I'll do this. Does that make them accessible outside? Huh. Let's see. Let's do some Googling. How to access method defined in separate Rust module. Let's see. If your main.rs or lib.rs file declare the existence of module using the mod keyword, the compiler will automatically look for a core. Oh, so you have to tell it that you have a different module. So I have to come up to the top here and I have to say, so I have to say mod file, like that. Ah, okay. Interesting. So is that pretty common to have a bunch of mod, like a bunch of mod at the top of your file? Is that really common? I guess we can also just import write. Well, that's interesting. So you can kind of build your imports. That's kind of nice. That's interesting. And then in here, we'll do file dot. So how do I actually use it? Use file. Oh, I know. I know. I think I know. We need to do this. Like that. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now we can go over here and we'll do what. So if I make this though private, does that break it? Yeah. Okay, so that needs to be public. Cool. I'm starting to figure some stuff out. Slowly but surely. It is kind of cool to figure stuff out why you build, because it does kind of lead you to like understand, oh, this is why I use this. Oh, this is why I use that. But you have like a concrete thing to understand the use case in, which I think makes it a little bit easier to retain that information, because you experience the pain. You're like, oh, if I don't use that keyword, this happens. That's why I need that keyword. I would agree. Yeah, much better than using a tutorial. And you just have to get comfortable with the fact that at the beginning there's going to be a lot of stopping. Like you're going to write like one line, and then you're going to need to go do a bunch of Googling. But over time, that interruption becomes less and less, right? Because now you don't have to stop and ask how to do something every single time you want to do something. Rust looks fun. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm kind of in love with the pattern matching, or I think that's what you call this. This is what we call it in C#. But I'm in love with this, and I'm in love with this enum approach for matching, where like you can match an enum that defines a parameter essentially, like almost like a signature, function signature as part of your enum. I gotta say, I really like that a lot. I'm having fun. I don't know if you guys are having fun, but I'm having fun. Let's see, test. Okay, so I like this. This feels comfortable to me. The whole file writer thing feels nice.
Figured I needed to follow on Twitch as well. Cheerwell100.
Uncle Pee-wee, that's too nice. Now, Uncle Pee-wee, who are you from YouTube? Thank you very much. Those are called bits, right? Or that's a cheer. Using bits. I'm new to the Twitch thing. That's my very first ever. That's the first time anybody's ever given me bits. So it's a first. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. When I start Rust, I'm going to get the physical book. Nice. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You should learn the way you want to learn. Life's too short to do what other people tell you to do. There's a quote for you. Actually, I should bend that to say, life's too short to do what people who don't pay your salary tell you what to do. Because the people that pay my salary, I'll pretty much do whatever they want me to do. But aside from those folks, right now, still going through APIs. Start Django later this week. Nice. Yeah, I've never actually used Django to build anything. I've never used Django or Flask, but I've heard good things. All right, let's refactor this a little bit. I'm going to take this window off to the side, but if you're on the vertical stream, just know I'm referencing some code Copilot has written for me, but I'm going to try to type it myself just so I can get a better understanding. So the idea here is that right now, these sort of have a hard-coded dependency on the FS, which makes them difficult to test. So what we want to do is we actually want to refactor these to depend on some common writer abstraction. So this is kind of similar to what we would do in Go with the I/O interfaces. In C# we use I typically use a library called it's called like system.io.abstraction or something like that. So that way we can at test time, if we want, we can pass in a mock if we don't want to actually talk to the actual file system. So in C#, obviously, I would do something like interface I writer, right? And then I would say, writer has a write method that takes some stuff and returns some stuff. That would be the C# thing, but we're in Rust, so we need to do something like this according to Copilot. We have to say, we're not going to use the auto mock just yet. So we're going to declare a trait that's called public. It doesn't need to be public though. I don't think it needs to be public. It's just used here. Also, this can probably all go at the bottom of the file, right? Oh no, it needs to be public because this is an interface that our code's depending on. This isn't for test purposes. So we're going to say public trait, and I'm just going to call this a writer instead of file writer. Well, I guess it is a file writer. So I'm curious, is there a way to abstract this more? Let's see. So curious. I'm super new to Rust, so I'm not even sure the right way to frame this. But say we wanted to write this data, which is what it is essentially. We want to write this text to somewhere other than a file. I know the method's called save file to disk, so I understand this is kind of a dumb question, but I'm just curious. Say we want to write this text to somewhere other than a file. Is there a higher abstraction that we could use for writer, in your opinion? I'm curious what it would look like to go like, what does just a general writer look like? Built-in write trait. Excellent question. Yes, absolutely. You're thinking about the right abstraction level. So this is like Go. So Go kind of has the same idea with IO. So instead of creating your own file writer trait, you should use Rust standard write trait. This is much more general abstraction that represents anything you can write bytes to. Files, memory buffers, network sockets. This function accepts anything that implements write and could be a file, a buffer in memory, a network stream. Ooh, I like this. We should do this. We should do this. When you actually need to write to a file, even more examples of things that implement write. There's a really important pattern in Rust. Use the most general abstraction that makes sense. The Rust standard library does this everywhere. Write trait, read trait, iterator trait, into trait, anything convertible to T. By using these built-in traits instead of custom ones, your code becomes more flexible and interoperable with the entire Rust ecosystem. Yeah, this makes 100% sense. So this is like going back to when we were doing Learn Go with tests, and we were talking about how like there's a common IO, I forget what the interface was called, but there's a common IO interface that we could use for testing. Okay, cool. So it's nice to know it's nice to know Rust supports this kind of thing. Uncle Pee-wee, you enjoying our nice weather? About to have snow through Friday. Where are you at, Uncle Pee-wee? I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. Let's see what the weather's like. Which maybe you're near me, and that's why you're saying that. No, the weather here looks, let's see, daily. The weather here doesn't look terrible. We're supposed to have rain tomorrow. It's supposed to be a high of 66 where I am at today, so that's actually going to be a warm day here. Sucks for you, though. You're getting snow through the Friday. That sucks. But it's not a file writer. Yeah, 100%. I think standard.io has a write trait. Oh, Bob already said it has a write trait. Bob is smarter than Copilot, or at least Bob beats Copilot to the punch. Minister of Defense, Rust, gross. Hello, Minister of Defense. Good to see you. Not sure how far I want to go or what. My pause point will be before Rust. Maybe PyTorch stuff. That's fair. Yeah, go as far as you want, man. It's your life. Yeah, it's your life. 60 miles south of Wichita, Kansas, and it keeps changing. Okay, yeah. So you're right in my neck. You're right in my neck of the woods. Yeah, very nice. I was getting ready to start refactoring that code to use that write trait, but now I realize it's 6:58. So it's not. We're not gonna. So okay. So real quick though, before we do anything else, I do want to demo for those that weren't here earlier. We did get a feature implemented. We actually got 2 features implemented today in our app. So we can both save a file to disk and we can load a file from disk. Which seems to me like that's the heart of any good editor or notepad. So let's see, we can do hi there. And we can do save as, test for stream demo, save. And then if we delete this out of there, We can then load it back in. I'm a Rust developer. I'm gonna go update my LinkedIn resume. That was the goal. The goal for today's stream was implementing that, which we did. So now we're gonna stop, and before we add any more features, we're gonna do the right thing, and we're gonna figure out how we write tests for our code, so we can write tests as we implement features. Because every time I don't do that, I severely regret life later down the line. The moment Steven puts Rust dev in LinkedIn, job offer coming. Yeah, it seems like, what was I going to say? It seems like Java, isn't Java like the #1 programming language right now for employment, for employability? I forget. I probably need to find that state of the developer ecosystem. I think it's like Java, Python, and something else. #1 programming language for employability, which I think it's such an interesting concept. Let's see, top languages for employability 2025. We have Python, JavaScript, and Java. I believe that. 100% believe that. Come work with me and you can learn Adobe Cold Fusion. I don't even know what that is. Adobe Cold Fusion. It's a rapid web application development platform and language that helps developers quickly build secure, high-performance, dynamic websites. I could get behind that. I could do a little web development. It's a it was released in 1995 or created in 1995. Is Cold Fusion a dead language? Cold Fusion isn't dead, it's just invisible. Thousands of companies still use it, according to market data. I mean, that's the real world, though, right? The real world is not the latest fangled whiz-bang technology. The real world is like, it's code janitor work, right? It's code maintenance. It's working with legacy tech. Like, that's... Tech Twitter is not the real world, that's for sure. All right, chat. Well, I gotta put on my employee hat now, and my husband hat, and my father hat. I have to take off my YouTuber hat. So, anything else you guys want to chat about before we hang up for the day? Hang up. I sound like a boomer. I'm gonna hang up the stream now. Which, no offense to anybody who's a boomer. I don't even know if I have any boomers in the chat. I don't think I do. I think my demographic's pretty much like 30 to 40. So it's just millennials and Gen Xers hanging out here. No boomers. That's too funny. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. What you learned? Oh, that's such a great question. That's such a good question. Okay, what have I learned? Let's see. Let's recap. So today I've learned that Rust supports async, await and async. However, I have to figure out a separate runtime if I want to use it. I have learned that this is such a good question, 199. This is such a good question. It's good for me to stop and recap. So yeah, I learned Rust supports async, but you have to have a separate runtime for it. I learned that your test functions go next to your production methods or production code. I learned that traits are a way to express interfaces in Rust. I learned that if a method returns an option type, then you need to use the sum or none when you're matching against it for exhaustive matching. If something returns a result, then we need to use, if something returns a result type, like over here, then we need to match against it with OK and error. What else? I learned that stir ampersand stir and string are two different things and are treated differently. Exactly how they're treated, I don't really know. I just know they're different things. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty good recap of what I learned. Yeah, it's good stuff. Not a better or worse, more so pros and cons. Okay, so I don't think I have enough to really give much pro or con list quite yet. So I think my initial take on Rust is that there is quite a bit of a learning curve. So I think if you're coming from any language, or at least any language that I've used before, and you switch to Rust, it seems like there's a rather big learning curve quite a bit. And we haven't even, I think, gotten into ownership and the borrow checker and whatnot very much. So I will say that. I will say that's probably a con for Rust, is there's a big learning curve. Compared to switching to C# or using C# if you're coming from another language, I think that's much easier probably to pick up. But that also could be a bias because I understand C# and use C# a lot, so that could just be a bias. All right, time to go. All right, if you're new here and you enjoyed the stream and you want to come back in the future and hang out some more, the best place to find us is here on either Twitch or here on YouTube from 4:15 in the morning to 7 a.m. in the morning. I just put the schedule in the chat for your reference. And if you would like to interact with me or chat outside of the stream, the best place to find us is Discord. You're welcome to join there if you'd like to hang out and chat outside of the live stream. Other than that, I do try to post some content on the YouTube's short form content throughout the day. So if you leave a comment, one of those, I'll be happy to get back to you and have a conversation there. I've been trying to upload longer format content for some members only stuff. I've got a video that I'd like to make about using StreamerBot to do custom text to speech messages that it was kind of interesting to set up that I'd like to share. But yeah, so I try to make content. So if you leave a comment, I'll try to get back to you. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys tomorrow, maybe in the morning, hopefully. And we'll do some more Rustin. Maybe we'll implement another feature. We'll definitely figure out how to write tests. That's for sure. All right, guys. Let's see who's still here. See, Uncle Pee Wee, thank you so much for becoming a sub on Twitch. Really appreciate it. Bob Knoll, thanks for all your help, as always, for helping me learn Rust. I really appreciate that. Minister of Defense, if you're still here, have a good day. 199, appreciate all your interaction and viewership. Really, really appreciate it. All right. I think that covers everybody who was here recently. All right. Bye, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. And if it's already Thursday for you, have a wonderful Thursday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Have a good day.